Today's parable from Jesus is easily the most recognizable of the parables he tells. It is so well known that if one but says the usual name for it, the prodigal son, folks already have a pretty clear idea of what one meaning of the parable is. Following on the story of the lost coin and the lost sheep, this story about a lost son seems to need little explanation. But this story is also famously referred to as the parable of the waiting father by theologians who really just flip-flop the emphasis from the lost son to his dad. But you know, this isn't just a two-character play. It's not just about a father and a son. In fact, some would argue this parable is really the story about the third character who gets overlooked. Now, we've heard this tale so many times, believe it or not, it shows up in the lectionary only this Sunday every 3 years. But we've heard it so many times, we may just forget to look at it any closer than what we remember off the top of our heads. The usual meanings we get are about a younger son who vastly sins by running away, but upon returning finds surprising mercy. In complementary fashion, there is this father who waits with unwavering and unconditional love. However, I'm betting most times we forget the context in which Jesus is telling this story. Tax collectors and sinners are coming near to listen to Jesus, but it's the Pharisees and scribes, you know, those religious types, who are meant to overhear this story. They are the ones grumbling about the way Jesus is welcoming these whom they deem as unwelcome. So we need to remember that Jesus' intended audience is composed of those who've been doing this religion stuff so long, they've actually forgotten and missed the point and the purpose and the opportunity that Jesus sees so clearly. You know, maybe it'd be better to hear this story from the perspective of the characters themselves. But you see, much like our Advent explorations in December, for this story to make sense, for it to mean anything, you have to believe in something. Something very important. You have to believe people can change.
Well, let me tell you what happened. You see, I had two boys. Any of you got kids? I love both boys. But I tell you, it was hard. Their mom had died. It was just the three of us. It was hard to get by. But I loved them both. But they were both so different. And you know what happened? My younger son, well, my little boy, now let me tell you, you see, Dad, well, my big brother, he got all of the center of attention. He took all of the respect, all the responsibility, and, well, I never felt worthy after my mama died. I asked simply for my inheritance. I was going to get it anyway, only, well, some people thought I wanted my father to die, but anyway, I said, can I go ahead and get my half now?
And then I took off. I took off, man. I just headed on out. I headed on out as far away as I could get, and I went to the big city. The big city, big lights, big stuff, all kinds of things going on, and I had a big time. I had a big time, let me tell you. Yep. I was eating, I was drinking, and I had some friends, if you know what I mean there. I had friends all around me. I had company, the best. But when the money ran out, there was no more eating, no more drinking, and the friends and companionship, if you know what I mean, it all ran out too. And I was alone. No one would give me anything, nothing to eat. I would have loved to just eat the slop that the pigs were eating. Well, I tell you, I was as far away as I could ever imagine, nowhere else to go, and I realized what I had before I left. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to head back. I'm going to throw myself before my Father, and I had a whole speech made up. I'm just going to lay myself down on the ground. I done God wrong. I'm going to just lay myself down on the ground, and I'm just going to say, you know, here I am, Lord. Here I am, God. Here I am, Father. But that ain't how my dad saw it. Nope, that's not how we saw it. Now, let me tell you, I saw him out the window. I saw him probably a half a mile away. And when I saw him, I was so excited that I ran to meet him. It took a while. I ran to meet him, and he started to speak. I don't know what he was saying. He was very excited, but I cut him off. And I told the crew behind me, go get everything. We're having a party because my son, who was lost, has been found. And oh, what a feeling to have him back alive. And all the sorrow I had felt just dropped away. And I was so happy. But not all of us were that way. You see, I have always been around with my stupid, inefficient family. But I was there. My father couldn't see anything straight. And his other son, well, let me tell you what actually happened from here on high. You see, I carried the load of responsibility for an aged father and a farm and a younger whelp of a brother who could not be counted on. He went away, left all responsibility to me and our father, who only pined for his return. And the burden of taking care of everything, well, it fell on me. I was way off in the field working alongside the field hands, trudging. And then I heard the commotion of a party, music, a festival. Never such a thing for me. And my father came out. And he said, a brother of yours has come back? And I said, you mean this son of yours has come back after losing half of everything we had? I felt outraged, betrayed. The final nail. Not being appreciated or loved. He thought everything would go back to the way it was when we were a family. So I tell you, I tried to tell him, we are a family. I tried to say, this brother of yours, he was gone, he was lost, he's been found, he was dead, he's alive. I have always loved you and him, and everything I have is yours. What you have to see, the important part,
not the past and the losses, but it's the future and the gain. That our family is now made whole. My loss is filled. So is yours. We were broken, and now we are made whole. And that is where our story stands.
It's really a simple story about three characters in need of change. One character who is both a younger son and brother gets lost in the wide world, but then finally realizes that everything he needs is back on the isolation of the family farm, and is indeed the family. And he is changed. An old father loves his two boys, but is devastated that one has gone so far away, but his devastation turns to celebration that his family is all together and whole, and he is changed. But the elder son is the only one left unresolved. He has not had an epiphany. He is stuck in the past, in himself, and in his self-righteousness. Jesus' audience, I told you, were the Pharisees and scribes, the long-standing religious types who didn't need their concepts challenged. But I left out part of that group. Jesus' audience is you, church. It's for those of us who've been keeping the church going all our lives. It's particularly shocking if you are like me and actually the elder son in your family who made the efforts to come back home and to be back at the ranch and taking care of your parents in their last days. Jesus is telling this story to you this morning. But to get it, you have to believe something. For it to make sense, for it to mean anything, you have to believe people can change. The obvious meaning of this parable is that the father equals God, the younger son equals all those who have gone astray, and the elder son equals the Pharisees and scribes. But if you want to know the deeper meaning of this story and the gospel, the good news part, we are not necessarily stuck in any one part. Perhaps only once when we were younger, or maybe on a cyclical basis, we wander away and we are that lost child in need of the great mercy our Lord offers us a way back home. There are times when we actually are the stability of faith, waiting for those to come back. We have to be like that parent that waits with unconditional love and just celebrates when others return into the fold without judgment or ridicule. But unfortunately, if those two were the real points of the parable, Jesus would not even have to mention the other son at all. Most likely, those first two characters are there only as a foil in contrast to point out the part we all probably fall into most readily. The self-righteous and dismissive elder son who seethes with anger both that his sibling left in the first place, and then maybe even more that he comes back. The interesting part of the parable is that we actually see the change in the father and the younger son. But you know, if you read this parable, we don't see what happens after the father implores the elder son. It's kind of a cliffhanger, isn't it? Does the elder son spit out all his anger, outrage, and pain and just continue in his disdain? Or does he come to see the light and graciously alter his opinion of his brother so that they end up living happily ever after? The short answer, I believe, is yes. Depends on who's playing the part of the elder son. As it turns out, I think this parable is the most personal parable of all. Because it doesn't matter whether you're actually a son or a daughter. That last part is you. And how the story ends, well, you see, that's up to you. So as you think about this lesson later on, just remember, for this story to mean anything, you have to believe a person can change and be redeemed. And as you look in the mirror, weigh the options. Because the end of the story is really up to you and me and our ability to trust in the Father, in God's gracious, unconditional, and indeed reckless love.